Alright guys, so here it is. So for the Harrowstorm patch, and just before even Harrowstorm even came out, Dragon Hold and Scalebreaker, Werewolf's just been in a really bad spot. And a lot of people have been asking, you know, what's the problem with the Werewolf? Why is it bad? Or why is it on the lower tier performance, or just lower tier in general of effectiveness? Well, one, the heal is just expensive, man, ridiculous amount, and it doesn't become fun or great anymore, man, or stuff like that, because you got to work so hard to kill people, man. It's ridiculous. And yeah, the damage too, right? The damage was nerfed. The other morph is just kind of utterly useless. I mean, it doesn't really benefit at all. I guess a little bit of utility, but it doesn't offer anything else. It doesn't even have splash damage from heavy attacks, which is kind of stupid. I mean, people, yeah, they were complaining about the pack leader. I mean, I guess because the direwolves would absorb damage or whatever, but you still have pet sorks. Pet sorks still have that option. I mean, you still hit their pets and stuff, right? So, I mean, that view is flawed. I don't know where people are getting it from, but that view is flawed. If you're gonna nerf the werewolf pets, you need to nerf the pet sork pets, right? But they're not gonna do that. They want to nerf anything that's powerful, strong, or anything like that, or it can be used, you know, effectively. It's just a lot of bad views and a lot of bad reportings on things, on builds and stuff like that, and ultimates, and not just werewolf, but man, I still get hate for playing the damn werewolf, man, even though it's been nerfed. People they have no idea. Like, I used to like one shot, two tap people, man. Now it's just you have to work a little bit harder depending on the person. But a lot, you know, I see some changes. I see some things being fixed, but I also still see some downsides. But anyway, in this video, you just basically see me running around on a Stamsork werewolf, where I actually was able to fix the heal cost, which, when I'm actually, you know, pairing it with the other setups I run, my sustain isn't bad. I don't have I can just spam my heal like I used to be able to before they nerfed how much it cost, and I was able to still be able to push out damage or dish out damage too without giving up that effectiveness, right? So yeah, I just think werewolf isn't in a really great spot. It sucks that you have to run a setup like this to even make it work, you know. That's the bad thing, man. But other than that, you know, werewolf it needs some type of change. And I'm not just talking about werewolf, I'm talking about a lot of things need changing. But I really hope they do something with the pack leader morph, because if they think that's finished product, or they think that's good enough, man, that sucks. That ultimate is utterly useless. I guess they wanted more Berserker wolves in PvP, I guess, but even at times Berserker isn't good enough. You know, people want to argue that maybe, well, there's counters to the builds and stuff, and I'm like, well, yeah, but like, you should still be able to give the ability to at least be able to fight all types of classes and still be able to beat them, not just be limited to only fight a few different types. Like, my thing is, man, if you're down low enough or whatever, you should be dead when the werewolf attacks you in this game. You shouldn't be able to just heal through everything. And that's another thing that they're not looking at, is the effectiveness of healing power in this game becomes kind of ridiculous, especially when the person who's attacking you isn't able to push out enough damage, even though they have infused traits, Nernhold, 2 weapon damage sets on. Sometimes it still ain't enough to kill certain people, and that's a problem. But other than that, the werewolf's been doing okay this patch. I haven't really fought anyone this patch yet that really, made me struggle as a werewolf, really. The only reason I wouldn't be able to kill somebody is because I'm not running the right damage sets to fight that particular build. I definitely noticed mag sorks, shield stacking is still pretty prevalent, still pretty strong. I feel like Templars got nerfed because, or Magplars, and really I would say, they feel squishy, or at least they got rid of their defenses. Now I'm able to just burst right through their resistance. I haven't really ran into a Stamplar or a Magplar this patch that really gave me problems. I usually can kill them now. Maybe because when they remove the mitigation to their block or something, maybe that's where that's really where they can get it. And that makes sense anyway. If you're blocking, you should be able to negate damage, right? That's for all classes and stuff and builds. But yeah, I am hoping that Werewolf does get some type of buff in the future. Hopefully during that Vampire DLC, because Werewolves and Vampires, that'll be really interesting. I know that the devs actually mentioned that it was actually a Supernatural DLC, not just a Vampire. Yes, Vampire is getting overhaul, which I think is really interesting, right? And yeah, the Vampires kind of needed that anyway because they were more a passive class, like passive infection or a passive race or whatever. They didn't, a curse, I would say. They didn't really have their option to transform. Now they're going to be turning into a Blood Scion / Vampire Lord, right? So that would actually be pretty neat in my opinion. I would like to see Vampire Lords versus Werewolves. Be interesting. I know I'm going to be getting some people that want to come fight me now on their Vampire Lord, but other than that, just because it comes out doesn't mean they're going to be able to beat me. I mean, as long as the Vampire Lord don't have shield stacking, I'm not going to have a problem fighting them. They don't need that. They should have the kind of a similar platform like it did on Skyrim, where they can kind of use blood magic and use melee. Other than that, they shouldn't be too OP. But my thing is, they shouldn't be able to put on any damn set in the game and still be OP. They should have certain builds meant for the vampire, right? Just like the werewolf has to now. But they might do that. They might not. I don't know. We'll wait and see when Greymoor releases. But if you see in the clips here, I'm actually doing pretty good at being able to sustain my mag pool. I think that's one of the biggest problems as a werewolf right now, is just sustaining your heals. Damage is alright now, just because I feel like certain things have been nerfed, especially the animation canceling. People just can't. Oh, and the desyncing. I mean, desyncing still exists, but it's not as prevalent as it was last patch. So people can't just dump on you and glitch away, right? So it's become a lot easier to actually able to set up your attacks now as a werewolf, not worrying about getting dumped while trying to finish them off. And that's another thing. I wish werewolf actually had an execute in their passives, because werewolf doesn't really have, they don't really gain anything really, unless you're like a Stamsork or a Necromancer. All you really get is just passives. And some of the abilities, are not as great as it used to be. Kind of funny that a really expensive ult isn't even as powerful as it should be, right? But I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this anyway. It doesn't really matter. I was just putting it out here just to talk about where the werewolf is at the moment. I think right now it's way better in Harrowstorm than it was in Dragonhold, and definitely Scalebreaker. I think that was one of the worst patches I've ever seen. But even with the dot damage is buffed and stuff, other than that, man, werewolf needs some type of fix. Be it some damage changes, morph changes, especially I think the reduction of the cost abilities need to get changed. And yeah, I think the biggest thing besides the healing is damage. The damage needs to get buffed, especially from your howl. That needs to get buffed up again. We need stronger howls instead of just trying to pump like 10 or 15 into somebody trying to kill them or whatever. But other than that, Werewolf's doing pretty good, and I hope you guys actually enjoyed this patch. I'm actually doing a lot better than I was previously, like I said. But anyway, guys, peace out.